Excuse me. So working with sellers, so we're going to kind of get through this, and then of course, as always, making sure that you guys know interactive. So please stop me throughout if you have any questions, anything you want to add to it, me to go over in depth a little bit, a little bit further on any topic. So, but just making sure you guys, or throw anything in chat. So what we'll cover, understanding sellers, seller interview, questions to understand as far as, trying to get that motivation piece, which we talked a lot about in the buyer section, as well. So in reality, everything we've covered, a lot to do with understanding motivation and questions about the property and things like that. The motivation piece, obviously, and the interview piece, all super relative for both buyers and sellers, but we kind of do have some different things that we'll work on if we're thinking of the of the sellers versus buyers. So hopefully you guys can kind of see this, but a couple decent graphs here just to just to kind of get you guys to realize like why sellers choose a particular agent. So these are from 2019 NAR, the National Association of Realtors. Always, and I told you this, from the start, they just watch every stat. They will, how long a buyer takes, how long a seller takes, where do I find this, where do I, just every stat they can, they monitor and then put graphs out. So if you ever have the ability to, or get, and we do get them, a report from NAR, or, if you ever see anything about market stats, please just take a few minutes, and make sure you either save that or print it or whatever. So it's so cool to kind of look through there. And we talked about marketing to, when we talked about prospecting farming, which involves marketing. And I said, stats, stats are so important, so intriguing for any client, that we have, any consumer that's even out there. So, it's just, I just want you to, make sure you guys, realize that, that those stats are important, and that this is kind of where they come from. So this one is, where, why sellers choose a particular agent. So what are they looking for? Obviously we know there's 8,000 agents in the market, but, if I go to this house to potentially list the home, and then someone else comes behind me and they maybe interview 3, like, why did they choose an agent? Why, what did I say? Or what did another agent say? Or, what did I offer? So, so it's a lot of what we talk about today will involve listening. So you just see in the lower right-hand corner, 20% of the agents that we're choosing, help sell the home within a specific time frame. And that just, that just kind of puts it out there that, I didn't walk in and say, hey, I'm going to list the house today. We should have it. So, like, what's your time frame? When, are you, want to sell today? Do you want to sell a month, or, are you looking 3 months from now? Like, just listening to them. Another one, 21%, help seller market the home. So of course that's what we do, but guess what? Sellers, our consumers don't always understand what we do or what happens when we, when we go to list a home. What do we do? So again, it's talking about how I market your property. 19%. So we got, we have 60% of the folks we're talking, in the other 19% is help price the home competitively. So we got pricing, just understanding when they want to sell, and then helping them market the home. And that's 60% of the agents that were chosen. So just kind of looking at that alone, then another 16%, find ways to fix up the property for more money. So, walk in, be like, man, if you, spent 200 on this one little project, I think it would, someone's not going to come in and reduce the price by 2,000 because, they see something. And, the one thing we have to realize is, consumers, just strictly looking, at a seller's point of view. When I walk through a home with the seller, potentially listing it, I'm looking through in the buyer's eyes. So, I walk in and the room's purple, not the best color. Could they, if they could paint it tan and only spend and do it themselves and spend $100 or something? Okay. But someone could walk in the room and see a tan room and go, oh, I hate tan. So, so it's not, everything's relative as to what, a seller potentially would spend in, what they would truly get out of it. But if I was walking through and there was, peeling wallpaper and the room was just dinged up and things, and that fix could be 200 and then painted tan, I look through as a buyer. And if I am not savvy, if I couldn't, I don't either want, I don't want to paint the room. I have no interest in painting the room. I can't do it. It's just not in my nature. Well, guess what? I walk in that room and I immediately go, well, there's $1,000. I got to hire a painter to come in and do it. So they, the seller or the buyer doesn't walk in and go, oh, no big deal. $100, we can fix this up. They immediately just take every issue that they potentially see and they just go, well, I have to hire someone. And that's kind of what you have to expect. Not every buyer's like that, but you have to expect that there are buyers out there that just throw, larger price tags on things where if you had a chance to do that prior and spent minimal dollars, then every single time that makes sense top to bottom. So again, when you're looking through the home, you're looking through it kind of at buyer's eyes and, even down to things like staging, like, can we declutter this room a little bit, make it feel bigger, anything that you can do throughout that. And then obviously the others are, help find a buyer, which of course we do, help with negotiations. And then just other is 7%. So in reality, every single one of those pieces just involves you listening and you value propping yourself and having a listing presentation to show how you work. This is how I work. This is what I do. This is how I do it. And having all of that in place. And some of you guys have not been on listing presentations yet. If you've been on one, it just takes a little bit to sort of get that going. But I'm going to go back to practicing, role playing, have your presentation. And I'm going to actually get through, we'll get in one of these sessions, we'll get through and I'm going to actually make sure you guys know where that listing presentation is. ERA has an awesome one on leverage that is essentially complete, where you just kind of go in and tweak it and make it your own and add some personal things in it. But the core of it's there, so you don't have to start from scratch. But once you kind of get that process, that listing presentation down and you've practiced it and you maybe role played some objections and things like that you might hear, that's an awesome piece to just get started and go, okay, this is where I'm going. And then before we get, just so you guys don't forget, trust me, all of you guys have access to experienced agents. So if you happen to, have been chatting with an experienced agent, Bryce with Jillian, Jillian will take Bryce on, and really anyone, Jillian will take Bryce on a listing appointment with her. He went to an open house with her, so chat with your office manager and definitely hook up with someone, because, you kind of having that listing presentation and going through today, but yet then, kind of having it in your mind, but yet not knowing, like, I don't know. I don't know. I'd be nervous the first time you'd go on one, of course, but go with an experienced agent and just sit back and listen to the spiel, and then listen to, how the interaction goes between the seller and the agent. Listen how the agent answers questions or handles objections. So that would be awesome for you guys. So even if you've gone on one or two or have a couple listings, it's never bad to still want to go with an experienced agent and just kind of see how it goes for them. Again, lots of things that you can just pick up, little tidbits here or there. And then this one, the most important factor. So what truly sort of, jumped out at the seller. So reputation of the agent. So, I'm going to say reputation. Of course, there are experienced agents that, hey, Bryce is just known in the market, I just know his name. I've seen signs, but super important for me. Like, I think it's a little bit more than just the reputation, where you think you have to have, 5 or 10 years in the business to get a reputation. For me, a reputation of the agent is your online presence. your, like someone Googles you and gets to your website, is that, saying things about you, who you are, what kind of agent you are, what you're like, outside of real estate, is that website filled out? Did you do your realtor.com page, your LinkedIn page? Do you have a Facebook business page? I truly think that this is way more than just, well, I don't have a reputation, and I'm brand new. No, you do have a reputation. So you have a reputation by, just everyone you've known in the past, but also that online presence, and that you are associated with, a group, ERA Real Solutions, Right Choice Realty. You guys are associated with a group that has unbelievable reputation. We have 99.6% customer satisfaction rating. We have a large reputation behind us. So you guys just absorb that. So again, don't just think that, you're out of it if you're new, going against an experienced agent. We have enough in our toolbox that a new agent can battle an experienced agent just by offering and value propping and listening. So there's a lot to be said for that. And then so that's one piece. So the other 65% is essentially everything that you can just do. So the next largest number, 19%, just be honest and trustworthy. So don't just, don't start throwing out large prices, market prices and listing prices because you think, it often works. I've dealt with an agent that, it's a $200,000 house. I know today's crazy market, but it's still 200,000. And someone will come in and go, I see it's 249. And of course the sellers are like, geez, 249. Why wouldn't we list with that agent? Well, guess what? If you're truly that far off, that agent's going to, come back to you in a week or two, and they're going to ask for a price reduction, or, it's not going to be shown. One thing we have to realize is, and we've talked about it with the buyers, and actually prior, our consumers have access to a lot of data that, almost most of everything we do. So they know what it's worth. They know the market's crazy. There's a lot of things they know. Well, they also know that, it's 3.2. If they do look at it, they're not going to pay $250 just because that's what it's listed for. They're going to realize that that's way overpriced and maybe not even see it, which doesn't help anyone. So, being honest and trustworthy, walk through the house and tell them there are a couple issues. Don't just go, oh, it's fine, I would list it today. Be honest with them. Tell them there are some issues that you either would have them fix or that might come up in a conversation. So if it's, just a foundation, and I know that's super serious, but even if it was just something where they can't just come in and quick paint a room, but if you're like, hey, look, just so this one thing could come up or likely will come up when buyers are seeing it. So I just want you to be aware, I'm going to price it here, but there could be folks that kind of feel this way or that way because they see that, or, just being honest with them right from the start. Friends or family members. So, we talk a lot about sphere and making sure we're not a secret agent in right there. So you have the ability. So, to get in the door. The one thing we cannot do is, if it's a family, a friend, or someone referred, we cannot just back down and just walk in like we have it, because that won't sail. That will draw red flags with them. They will be expecting you to give them the whole spiel. This is what I do. I got this team behind me. This is how we market properties, things like that. They will be expecting that. So just always remember, there are a group of folks out there that are family to friends, or one of them referred to us. We just got to walk in like we got to sell it right from the start. And then knowledge of the neighborhood, just caring person, a good listener, things like that. So really, in general, once we get in the door, we just got to kind of listen to them. We got to be honest. We got to, make sure we have our listing presentation down, and we have a shot. I've always said, if you do it and follow through. I was a new agent and I was beating, agents that were 10, 15 years in the market that I knew their name, like, so you have the ability to do it, but you can't just wing it. There's no part of what we do now that we just walk in and go, I'll figure it out, or I saw Jillian do it once, I'm good, no, we let that practicing, making sure we understand what we offer and how how we market things, and just the whole process will lead you and can lead you into getting listings. So, and it can be tomorrow. It doesn't, we don't have to have a year's experience before you're feeling comfortable like you can compete. You can start right now. So listing presentation. So, we call this listing presentation. We call it a marketing presentation, things like that. There are different words that you can kind of throw out, but basically it's a meeting between the agent and a prospective seller in which the agent demonstrates their ability to represent the seller in the transaction in order to obtain a signed exclusive listing agreement. So basically just kind of what I talked a lot about in the first, few minutes. You are showing up there in your goal is to walk out with a signed listing agreement. I have this listing for the next at minimum 6 months, shoot for 6 months. I shoot for a year. I have this listing for this long. We've agreed on a price. We agreed that, we're starting at this point in that they're going to fix 3 things before I list this house on Monday. And pictures are happening, and this is how I've promised to market it. So I've done all of that. So, and really all of that is in that listing presentation, which again, I'll get into leverage and just make sure you guys know where that is and show it. It was we did that actually in one of the first sessions, but we'll make sure you guys know that. But that's basically it. I'm showing up. I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to look at the home, but basically most of it is me value propping myself, my company, ERA, to make sure they understand, what I do and what I'm promising to do for them to get their home sold. We talked about it where, after that, they will start telling folks that we are selling our home. We're selling it, not that we're listing it. They will say we are selling their home. So, we have to realize that if I've said, I'm going to take professional pics, I'm going to take professional pics. If I said, I'm going to market it this way, I'm going to market it this way. If I said I was going to do a sign in the yard, I'm going to make sure the sign's in the yard, just everything, because they are walking around and telling folks and things like that, that they are selling. Like, it's in their mind, it's almost sold. But, but if we don't do our job, it can quickly fall apart. And then of course that does not look good as far as our reputation and possible referrals and things like that. So, so we want to make sure that we, do what we're promised. So a pre-listing packet. So we have some agents that have, pretty awesome little process in putting together a pre-listing packet. So, it's pretty cool. So, the idea of a pre-listing packet is okay, so I'm gonna, I've set up an appointment. I am going to John and Sue's house or whoever on Monday at 2, and I am going to present my listing or marketing presentation. That's my, but we're doing that Monday at 2. I can actually drop off some paperwork prior or some little marketing pieces prior. Maybe talk about stats in the neighborhood. Maybe just talk about recent sold. So a little maybe a shorter version of a CMA to kind of give them an idea of what's happening in their market. So I'm not going to drop off a CMA that says your home is 250, period. I'm going to drop this off, and just so you guys know, this is what's happening in the market. We will look at your home as its own, but this is the basic stats of what's happening. So and then anything marketing that you do. So this is what, what websites your home will be on. This is what, what I do for, just listed postcards, just whatever you do, your social things. So you can actually drop it off, maybe a little packet, maybe a little folder, just something that kind of gets them thinking about you prior to Monday. Because if they have a 2 o'clock and then someone's coming at 3 and someone's coming at 4, and then they're going to make a decision. If I've done something prior and already starting to give them some information and the other 2 didn't, it's not like I'm just showing up at 2 o'clock and, and that's it. I've started thinking about it the second I, knew that I was going there. So when I drop off a packet, that could just kind of start setting me apart in their mind, which is huge. That's the whole goal for you having that presentation, obviously to leave with the listing, but you have to set yourself apart, because guess what? Someone comes in at 3 o'clock and says, well, I list it and this is where my website, so that's awesome. Sort of another point of going with experienced agents. Go with 2 different experienced agents, go with 3 different experienced agents, and just hear a little bit from each of them, and listen to how they set themselves apart, how they, put themselves on a pedestal essentially to say, this is kind of why I'm better than everyone else. And you guys could take that and run with it, again, just because of the stats and the reputation of the company, not because you've done it for 5 years, but because the company has, and we're right behind you. So in the seller interview, again, we essentially talked about, I'm going to kind of just put them out so you guys can see them. Oops. We talked about, how soon do you need to move? We had that conversation. We were talking about buyer, how long have you been thinking of selling is similar to how long have you been thinking of buying, on the buyer side. But, this is starting to figure out, these are questions I, could have on the phone prior. I could have had that if they didn't just say, hey, we're thinking of selling, come over Monday or two. If I had a shot to start a conversation, but this is grabbing at their motivation. Like, what are you thinking? Are you guys just, thinking in the fall? And people will say that, no, we're thinking in the fall. Okay. How long you've been thinking of selling? Did it just pop up last night? Did someone come home from work and is getting transferred? Or have they been thinking like, maybe this is the year we need to downsize or upsize, or, it's time to go to Florida, or, whatever. So, again, these are questions that, when you think about sitting down with someone, like, oh, what do you want to list it for? When do we, but if you start tagging at this, the strings and getting their motivation, you're taking a step further than just looking at the house and putting a price on it. You're showing, you're showing that you're, sort of some of your personality to figure out that, I care more than just like, let's sign some paperwork and put a sign in the yard. If we sold your house today, what are your plans? We kind of have to, especially now, we have to have that conversation. But, similar to if we found a house today that was perfect and everything on your list, what would you do for a buyer? Would you put in an offer, or would you hem and haw? So if you sold your house today, what would you do? Well, we would move here. Well, we have a place in Florida already. Well, we'd figure it out. Or would they go to like, oh, geez, like, I don't know. Like, oh, well, can we, what we got to figure out what your plans are, because it could be, under contract the day we list it, and maybe you're out in 30 days or 60. So what are your plans? But again, just making sure it's not just all about the house, the number, and get out of the house. Like, let's make sure we give them everything we can. And of course, we're value propping just by asking these questions. Additional questions. Are you interviewing any other agents or brokerages? Sometimes they will tell you, we're going to interview a couple folks. Sometimes they won't. But if, again, kind of thinking of the family and friends and maybe somebody they referred, if I just go in there and just think I have it, obviously, sometimes it. Like if it's a friend and they're like, oh, come on, just swing by, kind of, or that one family member that you're like, this is my listing. Okay, that's one thing, but we kind of still got to do our, kind of go through our process. But, we can never just assume, just because, John said I should call you. Okay. So if you don't ask if they're interviewing somebody else, and then don't kind of go through your process, you could leave there and then just think, oh, great, I wonder when I'm going to probably get that listing Monday. And then all of a sudden you find out they listed with someone else. Then you're like, oh man, well, I would have done I would have kind of gone through my spiel a little bit more, or been more in depth, or asked more questions, so just doing that, just assuming that from the start. But also, even if they said, no, I don't think we're going to interview, it doesn't mean that I go in there and I'm just like winging it, because if, I still want to go through my spiel. I will go through my spiel and I say spiel, but I'll go through my presentation until they stop me and say, I have had folks and just different folks say, is there a way we can just kind of get right to the contract? I'm like, okay. So if they stop me and I'm going to have a signed contract, that's the only way that I won't go through my process. And you'll realize as you're going through your process, you can go a little faster. Sometimes you need to go a little slower. But again, just making sure you guys don't assume that I don't need to do it. Plan to do the same exact presentation every time, and then adjust it as needed. So, and then then it'll just be better off for you guys as you go through. Do you have any concerns around selling your home? Will all owners of the home be available for our meeting? Sometimes there's, it's just husband. It could be two partners, husband and wife, whatever. It could be 4 brothers. It could be kids involved. But we need signatures from everybody, whether we're emailing it now via Dotloop or SkySlope, or if we're going to all be in one house. It's just good to know who needs to sign this, so we just make sure we're all on the same page, and I need everyone's signatures to be able to move forward. And then, how much do you think your home is worth? Always kind of a curious question. You don't quite know what response you're going to get. It's a 200 house. Some will just say, I don't know. That's your job. Some will throw out like, I know the market's crazy. In reality, the one thing we always realize is everyone is like, well, let's get the most we can for it. Some are just crazy with 250 or whatever. But everyone's usually just waiting for us to kind of have the stats, for us to understand what's going on in the market. There are versions of trying a higher price, but making sure everybody understands, if you do try a higher price, this is what I'm thinking, or this is what we might expect. Just make sure we all understand that. So before I go on to the next slide, I just want to pause for a second and just see if you guys have any questions. Hopefully this is a good pace, but I want to just pause for a second to see if anybody wants to unmute themselves or throw something in chat. Okay, so we will continue through here. So ask questions about the property. It kind of seems silly, but we have to realize there could be, things that they did that you don't see. There could be things that they might know are wrong that we wouldn't, just don't jump out at us. So anything that we can get, we don't know. We don't know how the house is insulated. We don't know, we don't know anything behind the scenes. You could see maybe electric box was brand new and the wiring leaving it, but we don't know what wires are behind the walls. So, did you just replace all the wiring? Did you strip this down and from this, to the studs and then build it all back in, or not? It's not wrong, right or wrong from either side. So as many questions as you can ask, and then of course stop and listen. Ask a question and stop. Don't ask and like give them a chance to answer a question. So, but and just take notes. Do not think, trust me, do not think that you're going to just kind of be like, oh, we have, that plug's new. Okay. And then you're in the next room and you're like, oh man, like, what did he, you're leaving there and he actually gave you like 20 things, and you got it. So just don't, it's actually looks awesome if you have a pad and pencil, or, sometimes I think I've said I will take notes on my phone, but if I pull out my phone, I am telling them like, I am just taking notes. Like I am not texting someone. I am not, so I prefer a pad and pen and paper, just so it doesn't look like I'm texting someone while they're chatting. So, but every little note that you can take on the home, and then, kind of put it all together when you leave there. So how long do you usually, so Brittany says, how long do you usually keep a house at a certain price until you lower the price if no offers are coming in? How much would you lower it and at a time to please the seller? Great question. So, there's Okay, so this kind of two parts to this question. So, if it's just listed at 200 and it's kind of where we are, or we, may have gone a hair over, you know, um, I'm just kind of paying it, kind of letting the sellers know, but if we priced it right and, for what's needed or things like that, or if the seller, said, well, I know I should paint the outside, but can't we just list it? And, so I'm kind of paying attention if we're close. I usually go every 30 days. So I at least let them know. So I'm meeting with them and I will say, and it could be 2 weeks, but I will say like, hey, I'm going to reach out to you in, let's say 2 weeks. And we're going to chat about, of course, I'm going to let you know, hey, there's a showing Monday at 2, get feedback right after and let them know. So anytime that happens, but every 2 weeks, and it can be, any time frame, we are going to chat about what's happening. So I'll be able to say like, hey, look, I kind of looked at some stats and, like 1,000 people looked at the house and we had 2 showings. So what do you guys think? So I never really come out and say, we got to reduce the price, but I will start a conversation and say like, what do you guys think? I mean, I did the professional pictures. I mean, we could probably paint the outside, or maybe we should. So folks driving by see it, or, are you guys, do you guys want to reduce it? If you reduce so just pick a time frame and just say every 2 weeks, we are going to have a conversation if we're on the market. And we're just going to analyze, what we're doing. And sometimes they're like, we're good. Let's, okay. So, but having a conversation and letting them giving them data and letting them decide, should we reduce it? Should we do something to spruce it up, landscaping outside to make it a little bit more appealing? Or are we good to go? And then if we're going to reduce price, I like the fact that, like in my MLS, if I reduce the price $1, I could literally reduce it $1 and it resends out to everybody that's on an automatic drip. So if I'm looking for homes up to 200,000 in this, whatever, and this home fits into it, I will get when it's listed, I'll get an email like, oh, 123 Main Street was listed. Well, if 123 Main Street's reduced in price or something happens with it, I get another, I get to see it again. So maybe I missed it the first time, maybe you did something. So, but if you're going to kind of do it, it's got to, some people are reducing it $500, like, it's got to be a number that's a chunk. So if I looked at it, and a price matters to me, or if it's 200 and my budget's 175, like $500 isn't going to do a thing. So you want to do it, a chunk. Well, it could be 1,000, could be 5,000, but a chunk that is a decent number might jump out at me like, well, geez, they reduced it 5. We could afford to paint the outside now, because it's $5,000 less. So something like that. The second piece of that real quick is, if we're at 2 and they are the one that says we want to list it at 229, and I've gotten the feel like, okay, so that's high, but I think they're motivated. I think it'll come down. They just want to try it there. I will tell those folks, we are going to have a conversation in 2 weeks and I'm going to give you some stats. And if it is not sold, we are reducing it. And sometimes I will actually have them sign a price reduction of like a $10,000 number. Like we are coming down to 219. We tried it at 229. And again, at 229, I took professional pictures. I still did all the marketing I said I was going to do. It's on all these websites. We got a bunch of hits, but because I told you that was high and we tried it, you can reduce that a larger number, but you can actually have that in writing prior. Really any house, you could have a price reduction in writing. If we are still in the market in 2 weeks or 30 days, this is the new price, and have them sign it and date it. And when it comes to that day, if you're still on the market, you can reduce that. So hopefully that helps. It's not a set in stone, but I love the fact that you just say, I am going to have a conversation with you in 2 weeks, and every 2 weeks after, if we are still on the market. And then we'll just, we will just kind of see what happens, and you're listening to what they're thinking, and just expect like, yeah, let's reduce it. It's time. maybe they do a little work, or they, you will hear that they're fine. They're fine for another 2 weeks, but there will be a 2 weeks, 2 week stint where they go, hopefully, or they're, more understanding that they're ready to go, and let's reduce it. But during all that time, for us to, we have to be doing our job. We have to be still marketing it. We have to be in contact with them. We have to keep them going, on the same page, so that we don't just show up and be like, I know you haven't heard from me in 30 days, but we need to reduce the price. That's when they just start freaking out. Yes, there is. I believe, I'm not sure if, I think Linda may have, Linda hopped off. There is a price reduction form. I mean, it's essentially an addendum, but there is essentially a price reduction form, and that is, make sure you just chat with your office coordinator, and you can get that form. But all right, yeah, please, great question. So definitely, anybody else that has anything, throw that in there. Hopefully that explained it. I always kind of feel like I'm wishy-washy just because you don't know what's going to happen, but communication with your client, whether it's buyer or seller, is huge. So they will be extremely frustrated and not be happy if you just randomly show up with them, to them, and ask for a price reduction. So I hate price reductions because it's kind of a way out. But if I've done everything I could and everything I promised, then it's just sometimes it needs to happen. In knowing the market, will come back around to us. Price reductions are a thing and need to be a thing and will be in the future and forever. So great question. Kind of going back to the CMA. So if you're doing a CMA prior to being in the home, we kind of need to know bedrooms, baths, style, if I haven't, been able to see it, when it was built. So just a little bit to add to that, kind of seems obvious. And we have access to, the house could have been listed prior. So you have access in the MLS to kind of a closed listing of the same home. You have access to public records in RPR, Realtors Property Resource that we've talked about. But just know, these folks that own it now could have added a bedroom, could have added a bath. So don't take it for granted that it's, I looked it up, 3 years ago it sold, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot. Well, maybe they added a back room with a bedroom, with bed and bath, and now it's, 1,900 square foot and it's 4 bedrooms, 3-bath, or they put one in the basement, so just never assume it. And, you really don't want to show up and go, here's the CMA, and they're like, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, we're a 4-3, and you kind of essentially your CMA is is just off from the start. So anything that we can ask prior, you get them on the phone, do that little mini interview, and then as you're preparing that pre-listing packet, something you're kind of dropping off, get everything you can. But certainly we want the data, as correct as we can when we show up and actually have that interview. Any features. So really, again, anything that you can find out, if you're going to be doing a CMA prior. So, again, I never walk in and go, no, this is the price. This is the price based on comparables. I need to look at your house to determine if it's going to be that number higher or maybe lower. And this is just all, all the things that come into, figuring this out. So, I'm going to make a note. So again, we have a few awesome, we have a couple of great agents that have a decent or an awesome pre-listing packet. So I'm going to actually see if I can get a copy, maybe a digital format of that, and get it to you guys. But there is on the ERA University, a pre-listing packet and a listing presentation starter kit. So, definitely so you can log into Leverage, go into ERA University, and check out the pre-listing packet. Obviously you can either do the search or find it under listing marketing or listing distribution. So, but definitely do that. It says create a list of questions for sellers. never a bad thing. But when you see that listing presentation, if you have not gone in and kind of started checking that out, really there's a lot of questions in there as well. So not a lot to do with that piece, but definitely, probably another assignment would be for you guys to actually go out if you haven't yet, or want to go on a second one, in the next few days, set one up for early next week or next week to go out with another agent. And just, again, you're there, you don't speak, there's nothing, you have nothing to add kind of thing. And you don't even want to, I don't, if I went out and I went right now, I'd be like, no, I'm just listening. I don't want to add anything. All I want to do. And then you still have your notes and, just really just paying attention to the way the conversation goes and in the level of the voices and things like that. That's all just key to helping you guys tweak yours. Okay, so that was the first session, and I'm going to the next one I believe is shorter anyway. Of course, let me just make sure I find the right one for you guys. Gracious, sorry, I guess I need to just quit this so that it skips to the next one. So real quick, while I'm doing this, I am curious, with the 4 of you that are on, have any of you gone on a listing presentation yet? Whether yourself or with another agent? Oh, Bryce, not yet. So, okay. So Dwayne, okay. So none of you, yeah, you guys haven't. So again, love the idea of you guys hooking up with Dwayne. If you, just chat with, Terry. Okay. Mandy has, cool. Mandy, was that yours or did you go out with another agent? Oh, cool, Bryce. Yeah. Oh, perfect, Mandy. Awesome. So Mandy did two different on her own. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the goal is to do it on your own so that you can, get list, working towards listings for sure. So okay. Oops. Jeez, I apologize here. I am like, all right. Okay, one more. So, okay. Oh, Brittany, so you've been licensed since through 2018, and of course you've done some stuff. Perfect. All right. So sorry about that. So we're going to just continue here. So CMA, and we did kind of talk about this when we were talking about RPR Realtors Property Resource. We're going to talk about pricing recommendations. So, whose price? Ooh, the ultimate question. We will do that CMA. We will compare properties, but really it's the seller's price. We have we have a number in mind. We have 200 in mind. So that's, if the seller says 299, I don't have to agree to it. And I can say, you know what, I'm not the right realtor for you. But the seller, I am not going to, the seller will hopefully listen to us. And as we're saying why it's 200, we don't just randomly throw out a number, but this is why it's 200. So I will put a range out to them. I will actually tell them, it's a 190 to a 210, and kind of let them determine, like 190, we sell it today. 210, we're kind of testing the market, because it should be 195 to 200, but I kind of put that range out to them and let them, sort of put their finger on, like, well, let's try it here, and of course, a lot of folks want to try it, and you will hear every day of the week, like, well, you can't go up in price. So, so they always want to try it, but just always remember, you do not have to take a listing. So if they are at just a crazy number and essentially aren't listening to why you price, why your number is 200, like, no, it's, we're going to try it here. Again, if I don't see that they will come down in price, or that they will sign a price reduction the day I'm listing it, or if I just don't feel that it's that way, I will take a listing if I assume they're going to come down and have a gut feel about it. And I've walked away from a listing for someone that just seems totally unrealistic and isn't listening to me as the expert in the market. So, just always realize you do not have to take a listing, and it's not the easiest thing to walk away from it, but you also don't need the stress in having a sign in front of a house for 6 months and not having a sold on it. That's not a good piece of marketing for you as an agent. And of course, even though they listed higher, and if you take that listing, they're still going to expect you to sell it. Well, guess what? You have a fear of them starting to tell folks, like, I don't know what Dwayne's doing, but we are not getting showings, and they're not going to walk around going, I know we're way over listed, but we are way over our, where we should be. We are priced way too high, and we're not getting listings, or showings. No. They are walking around going, Dwayne is not selling our home. He's not showing it. Meanwhile, you're like, well, because it's priced 50,000 too high. And believe me, that's an extreme 50,000, but there are folks that, that will want it higher than it should be. And we just need to make sure we have that conversation with them and determine if it's a right fit for us. The market, that's the key. So again, when we are talking with our folks, okay, we're going to list it here, but the buyer's the one that walks in and determines if they want to pay it. And our buyers are educated now, so we need to listen to feedback. We need to listen to other agents in what they think of the price. And I need the other agents to be honest with me. So, just determining, where it sells, that's the market. That's a buyer, not me. A buyer determines what they're willing to pay for it. And even in today's market, it's crazy, but they determine what that will sell for. Not the seller, not me, not social media. Who's willing to pay something for it with the way it sits, good, bad, issues. So elements affecting the price of real estate include, so just kind of thinking about all of it, and we, of course, we're always thinking ethically. We have to remember, we have to think ethically. The price range of neighborhoods or subdivisions. So there are subdivisions or neighborhoods or sections of town that sell more than other sections of town. The average length of time it takes to sell it properly and get into a bidding war, or do you want to be higher, and then when we get down into the price it should be, then it sells. Location of new construction, abundance of homes for sale. So obviously the inventory is low now, but are there 3 homes on one street? Well, someone's going to look at all 3 and determine which one fits for them. But if there's only one in the whole subdivision, could sell for more. The location of multifamily complexes. So if you're, so kind of the house itself, both of these next to the location of amenities. So if the house sits next to a highway, it will affect price. If the house sits, if the houses are 2 foot apart on the street, that'll affect the price. If it sits on 5 acres, that could affect the price. If it's, a short 1 minute drive or walk or whatever to the school, or 10 minutes, or where's the store, all of those pieces sort of come into play. when you're kind of determining price, let alone the house and the condition and the size and things like that. Rising or seller's market, 3 months of or less of inventory. So we talk about inventory, and when I go to list a home, or even if someone's talking about, hey, what would happen if, what's kind of your feel on the market? Well, okay, this, and this. Well, what do you think if we listed today? Like, are we selling today, or what's the market look like? So I will actually pull, it's kind of just start with 3-bed, 2-bath, starting that CMA, but my only goal is to see what's on the market. So yours is a 3-2-200. If I listed that today, I'm going to go to the MLS. I'm going to do 3-2. What's listed between 175 and 225, and determine how many other homes. Just thinking, if I'm a buyer and my budget's 225, my agent's going to send me every home available from 175 to 225 or 235, whatever range. So I really want to pull that and go, oh, there are 2 other homes on the market. So if we were listed today, I'm thinking we have 2 other homes that are competition for us. Not, and it could be 2, it could be 1, it could be 20, because just depending on what property you're listing. So if you're like, man, we're going to be 1 of 20, we can't experiment on price. We can't be like, oh, let's go high. If we're 1 of 2 or 3, maybe we try that 225 number and be like, well, there's only 3 houses on the market, so we're likely to be seen, and see what happens. So kind of determining what's on the inventory, what inventory is on the market is putting, kind of coming up with the CMA value of the house, and then determining on either side of it what someone might look at, and then just seeing if there's 1 house that shows up or 10. And that's kind of the inventory or your competition. Neutral or flat market, 3 to 6 months. So now we're, so rising or seller's market is 3 months or less. So essentially every one of our markets, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincy, Southwest Florida, if a home is listed for the condition it's priced right, and it sells, that's kind of, not somebody that's just experimenting and things like that. 3 months of less inventory, that's what we have. I mean, we have essentially a month or less. So, we're in a rising or what they would consider a seller's market. So if it goes to 3 to 6 months, so, for the whole idea of that is there are 10 homes listed now. How long is it going to take for all 10 to sell? And if neutral or flat means it would take 3 to 6 months to sell every one of them 10 listings, not just one or, every one of them, it would take 6 months to sell. That's sort of that neutral or flat. And then our falling or buyers is kind of outside of that 6 months. So to sell those 10 homes, it's just going to take, over 6 months. So, buyers are pickier and the sellers aren't getting the price they want, things like that. Oh, so yeah, Brittany's talking about, remarks about requested no appraisal gap, which I thought was interesting. Why wouldn't someone want that in written, especially in this seller's market? Yeah. So no, totally agree. But folks are, when we talked about buyers, they are, they're waiving home inspections and in the appraisal gap. So, the home appraises at 350 and and they offered 380 because they wanted it, and there's only 1 house on the market. That's what's happening. And there are buyers saying, or sellers saying, well, look, you offered 385. I am, if it comes in at 350, I'm not selling it to you because you paid and buyers are going, hey, I'll come up with a cash difference. So super crazy to think that that's even going on, but everything should be in writing. I mean, oh my goodness. You're not just, there's nothing in today's world that, you shouldn't be, having in writing. Say nothing about, and that's Brittany, that's in everybody, that's where those addendums come in. Like, I will grab an addendum and be like, buyer agrees or seller agrees, and I will put anything on it, appraisal, a home inspection, that shed will be moved. Like, we'll move that shed. Oh, okay. Like, I'm gonna put it in writing, like the seller agrees to move that shed, because, if he just tells me and I say something, that's crazy. So yeah. Oh, the agent said no offers with appraisal gap. So because, the sellers get dinged in the end, it's like, they don't even want to deal with that. Like, just give it, we kind of know what it's going to appraise at or whatever. Don't come in and say, basically, the appraisal gap says, is that we offered it could be something simple. We offered 360 and it appraised at 350. Well, the buyer in every other market and every other world, everything else says, well, you got to sell it to me for 350. So the listing agents are starting to, just get away from that. Another thing I read is that, I think it was maybe a listing in Cleveland, is the listing agent actually said in the listing, like, I don't want any letters. Don't send me a letter that, that you love the house and you can see yourself living there and, growing your family there or whatever. They don't even want, just, I want an offer. I want a solid offer, and you're going to pay whatever that offer is. So, but yeah, it's crazy. We're just in a weird spot right now. It's kind of nice to, to know things are selling if I get a listing, but I can't wait for it to just slow down and get back to normal, because it's just more fun when I get to kind of work a little bit and aren't struggling with, doing contracts for buyers and knowing that I'm dealing with 10 other offers. There's not a lot of fun in that. So CMA or appraisal. So we did talk about this in one of the other sessions. So we do not do appraisals. Appraisals are folks that are hired and get paid to do appraisals. So we are doing a CMA. We look at, kind of a simple version of an appraisal. We will look at other homes in the market, 3 to, be within a square footage range, 100 or 200 down or 200 up, doing the best we can with that. And then we determine with the seller a price based on the condition of their home versus the comps, where an appraiser actually will dig down to this, you're at 200 or ish or whatever. This home was 100 square foot less. So I put a value of $50 on each one of those square foots. This home had a half bath, so I put a value of $1,500, and they're breaking it down. And it obviously, anybody could hire an appraiser. So you could hire an appraiser and pay $500 or whatever number. But the appraisers are most known with the bank. So the bank is, you put an offer for 350. It's the appraiser's job to, work for the bank and make sure if the bank offers 350, that's what the house is worth. And if it comes in less, then that's the bank going, well, we are not loaning you 350 if the appraiser says it's 340. We won't loan you based on 340. And then you determine if you want to buy it or not buy it, or if the seller comes down in price. So, but the appraisers, licensed appraiser, we are not licensed. We do market value on homes with CMAs. We help them price their home based on what's happened in the last 6 months in the market. So, kind of the, what we have to help do this CMA are, obviously the MLS is number one, because we have quick access to everything that's sold in the past or is on the market or expired, all the way through there. So that's of course the start. But, I talk about that realtor's property resource. There's so much information in there, maps and what's happening in communities and things like that. So, if I'm doing it quick, I'll probably just grab the MLS in probably 5 minutes. I could literally have just a general CMA. Maybe it's that initial CMA. But, if I'm going to do something to impress a client or a consumer and try to become, have them become a client of mine, I'm going to grab the RPR, because like I said, that CMA in there, that sort of CMA report that they do can be 70 pages long. And that's a ton, and that's way too much if you think about it. But if I either dabbed it down some, or really just sent the 70 pages and said, this is so detailed, you do not have to look through every page, but I wanted to make sure you had everything you could. You know, a 70-page CMA versus maybe the agent right after me coming in with 1 page from the MLS can help me stand out. You know, if they choose to look at it, great. If they don't, great. But they're going to see that I took time and make it look like I took 3 hours to build it. And really the RPR is almost just as quick. I'm putting some basic information in there. It's pulling public records. If I've had a conversation with that seller and I go, so I just want to confirm you have a 3.2, right? About 1,500 square foot. And they go, yeah. Okay. Well, then that's going to pull from public records and I don't have to change anything. But if it's a 4.3, or if they just did anything to it, you know, I can adjust that in the RPR report and go, oh, gee, it's 1,900 square foot, and make sure that it's adjusted throughout. So just ways to make sure that's updated. But again, you know, that just, I mean, it's just so detailed, and it can just be emailed. Obviously you could print it. I'm not a big printer of, you know, on paper and things, but, you know, if you were like, hey, I'm going to email you this, you know, I'd love you to, you know, take a peek at it. I mean, they're just going to see like 70 pages. This agent, you know, went above and beyond. And that's, you know, that's just what we have to do in today's world. So, hey, no worry, Bryce. Good luck. And I'll be in touch. So yeah, just so you guys know, I'm going to send a recap out today or tomorrow with all the recordings, some other recordings for you guys. And we're already kind of thinking about what to do next step. So, but good luck, Bryce, with everything. And I'm sure you'll do great, but I'll meet you next time I'm in town. So again, just making sure that you have, you know, you have all the resources. So just use them, you know, making sure you have as much data and info as you can. So this is, again, kind of that one thing where you can, you know, do a CMA on your house. You know, you know your house, or your neighbor's house, or a family member's house, somebody's house. You know, don't be afraid to, you know, to do a CMA and just get used to it and start. You're like, okay, so I ran this report. Okay, you know, how am I going to talk about this? You know, run the RPR report. You know, what am I going to do there? So, you know, just great to kind of be practicing with it. But again, some of you guys have gone on it, but, you know, gone on listing appointments. But definitely, if you haven't, you know, go back out or hook up with an agent, and you know, very valuable to go out with someone else as well. So just a quick picture, so you kind of know what RPR is, you know, to be able to get to it, you know, and you can't break that. So, oh, good, Mandy. Oh, good. Yeah, Mandy says she did several RPR CMAs on mine or family members' homes to get familiar with it. So awesome to do that. Awesome to practice with it. They actually just kind of refaced RPR. So I did I'm going to make sure that I think I sent the RPR one, but I'm going to make sure I send it in the recap one. I think we did an hour session on RPR. There's some awesome videos in there that they have about doing strictly a CMA and things. So awesome program, but you can't break it. So get in there, play around with it, click around. You know, good to just do it a half an hour here, hour here. But once you get used to that, man, you get in there and you just click a couple buttons and make sure data is correct and your thing is right. So you are not spending, you know, an hour or something. I'm sure Mandy can say, like, you know, it's not going to be like, oh man, I got to do this CMA and it's 70 pages. No, there's so much data that it just brings in. So once you're familiar with it, you know, you can pop them off pretty quick. So I kind of talked about this, but you know, I'll just kind of want you to just see it. But you know, so when we do a CMA, we are looking at active listings, obviously. We're also looking at pendings and solds and what expired, because we kind of want to see the full end of the spectrum. You know, with yeah. So real quick, Mandy says it's very, very helpful with all caps for very, and equips you with a ton of knowledge for sellers. So I love it. Thank you, Mandy, because that's really why we talk about that RPR is just helping, you know, it'll help you set yourself apart from every other agent that just kind of did that quick MLS CMA. But so one thing we want to do with CMA is the actives, but the expireds actually kind of help us figure out, like, man, why did that house expire? And again, we look at Well, look at them. I mean, again, you're just doing this yourself. You're not putting down other agents, but man, look at those pictures. Like there's, it's a $200,000 house and there's 3 pictures and they're horrible, or, just whatever. You're analyzing like why something expired. Well, geez, that's a $200,000 house and they had it listed at 249 and didn't reduce it or anything like that. Well, geez, that's why that one didn't sell. So you kind of you bring those into your conversation about what's active, what's pending, and what's sold, and be like, we want to list at 249. Well, I have 2 homes right now that just expired after 6 months on the market because they were priced at 249. So we have to analyze that and bring that into where, what might be the best price for us to list at. And of course, every home's different with location and condition and features, and this is to the hilt. But important to know, the kind of a same piece of it is there was a home in my market, great home, beautiful neighborhood, but the folks spent $45,000 on a master bath. $45,000. It's what they wanted to do. It's, I'm sure they loved it while they were there, but do you think you're going to get $45,000 for that master bath when you go to sell it? So, I mean, just because someone went extreme, it doesn't, they like, hey, we spent 45. Well, I don't know what to tell you, but that's a bathroom and it's worth $5,000. I don't know what to tell you. It's great. It's love. Somebody may fall in love with it, but somebody else isn't walking in and writing a $45,000 check because you did. So just kind of realizing pluses and minuses as you're going through their home and sort of comparing it to others. And then, like I said earlier, I love establishing a price range. So I don't say it's 200. I say it's, sometimes 190, sometimes 180, and sometimes 210, sometimes 220, or whatever, you kind of get a feel for it. But again, that's like, well, if we're here, we're popping it. If we're right at 2, I kind of think that's maybe where we are. But if we were to try it at 220, maybe we find that right buyer that just walks in, falls in love with it, and is just all over it. Or maybe that helps us get a 205 number. But again, I believe it's a 200-ish number, but we may get lucky and grab a few more dollars for it. But I'm just being upfront, honest, just being truthful with them all the way through. Pricing analysis grid. So there is this page. This is a tool that is on the listing presentation in Leverage. This is right on the same page. There's a pricing analysis grid that helps us sort of determine where it would be, where the best price is. So what's currently listed, what is sold, and you'll kind of get 2 price ranges for them. And then often what's expired typically has a price range over, too far to the right. They listed too high. So it's a really great tool. So if you kind of go in there to, log into Leverage and get to the listing acquisition page, right below the listing presentations this is one of them, a pricing analysis grid. It's just an Excel format, but it kind of creates a visual for you to help determine where you should price it. So it's a green, yellow, and red bright kind of price point tool. And it helps them, anybody that needs to kind of see something, they see green and yellow and then see a red, and you ask them where they want to get priced. Sometimes it helps with that, but I'll quick show that to you when we get through this one session. So again, price range, 180 to 220, are you looking to sell today? Might be at 180 to 200 if you're, just want to be out there and sell it, or if you want to try the market and you have a little time, we could go a little higher. And this is where you come in, tips and suggestions. So, they are, unless they're that one that just says it's 240, if you're not listing it for 240, whatever, but, and, all the homework we've done, just us chatting with another agent, having RPR, we're giving them suggestions, and it won't take you long to sort of get that gut feeling. I'm sure Mandy's already has it. So she's been licensed in 2018. Like there's just a gut, and it's not even in today's market. There's, you just kind of be like, yeah, I just think it's a 200. You know, I'm not saying we can't get 205 or that it doesn't sell for 190, but you know, you always kind of get that gut feeling. But that's because you've done the homework, and then you know what's happening in this market. You know what's happening in that neighborhood. It's not just, you know, I don't just look at that house next door and go, oh, I got a gut feeling. It's because you know, you've learned things and you're starting to learn things. So just, you know, kind of go back to, you should be in the MLS every day. You should know what's being listed. You should be, you should take a second to look at that listing. Be like, oh man, 123 Main Street for 200. Like, wonder what that is. And you look at it and you'll be like, okay, so 123 Main Street's in this neighborhood or in this location. That one's a 3-2. And then tomorrow you look at, you look at it again, and you will start quickly learning your market. And that kind of all comes into, you just generally knowing the market and how to chat with folks. So, pricing presentation, again, you kind of want to get some things up front as much as you can. You want to, kind of present that pre-listing packet, drop something off, email them something that shows that you've already started to work on this. Maybe do that RPR report and email it to them and go, I just wanted you to have this prior to me getting there. Again, just whatever you can do to get them something prior. And then when you get there, I personally like to sit at the table first, kind of chat with them, have that, seller interview questions. Sometimes price pops into that, but, I kind of need to see the house, before I price. I might have to do some more homework. I might have to have it's a 200 number, then look at the house and go, yeah, this is better than the comps. I'm kind of thinking in my mind, like, I'm going to do a little homework and then I'm going to get back to you. But I want to make sure we're pricing this properly. So again, just when you talk about price, it varies by, by client. Like I said earlier, some sellers will be like, just tell me what you think. Let's come up with a price and then sign paperwork. And you're like, beautiful. That's awesome. I'm going to save myself an hour of my presentation, but as long as I leave here with a listing agreement signed, I am all over it. So again, every situation's different, but just make sure you're not talking about price before you've chatted with them about their motivation and before you've seen the house. You can kind of throw out a general one, but you still need to have a better number before you say it's 200. So, obviously quickly, if you have not yet, get into RPR, kind of create your profile and start playing around with it, because just like Beatty said, once you everything's just right there. So, a couple clicks, do you want to do a CMA or, a CMA on a property? You are not doing 70 pages of info. You're going to throw in the address, make sure the numbers are correct, add some personal information, and it is just created for you. So I love the idea of kind of playing around with the pricing analysis grid, which again is in Leverage. And then, it says share your results with your manager or trainer, but anytime that you can, show a CMA to a friend that you did it for and be like, hey, here's the CMA on your house, or chat with another agent in the office or your office manager to just show like, hey, this is what I did. This is what this is kind of how I put it together. What do you think? And obviously get some feedback like, okay, yeah, I'll do that next time. And you're just kind of, making sure that you're, doing it properly and then learning every time you do it. Okay. So anybody have any questions after that one? I do want to make sure that I have one more that I want to get through. It's kind of just continuing along that seller process. And then I want to make sure that I get into Leverage real quick just to show you guys. So I'm hoping to still be done at 11 and should be able to be. So so let me just go back to the beginning of this and we will kind of. So we'll kind of get a little bit deeper into the listing presentation, kind of the appointment here to hopefully just help you guys determine, the one thing you have to realize is that every time you do this, it'll be different. So like the only thing in your mind you need to have in place is I'm going to walk in. I want to meet them at the, sit at the kitchen table with them and have a conversation. Then, and then I want to see the house, and then I want to sit back at the kitchen table and then be able to do my presentation. That's my goal. And you will find out that, you walk in, they're like, let's look at the house. And you're like, oh, okay, let's look at the house, but if you plan or want to do all of those 3 steps, and with the goal of having a signed listing agreement, plain and simple, that's the reason you're there. So whatever it does, whatever path it takes other than that, be prepared for that with the goal of getting the listing presentation. But don't freak out if they're like, let's go look at the house. Like, okay, well, let's look at the house, but I'm still going to have that conversation, or I want to. But if anything changes and you still leave with the listing presentation, obviously it's a victory. So here's an idea of that pre-listing packet is, really just, the idea is it sets you apart from your competition. So you're dropping this off prior to meeting there, going there Monday or Wednesday or whatever time frame. And you're just kind of, like giving them a little heads up so they have some information before you get there. Just some examples of what to include. So a resume of yourself, so just a brief 1-pager or something that shows who you are. And again, that, doesn't say you're brand new. It just says, hey, I'm part of ERA Real Solutions or Right Choice Realty. I got a team of, 100 agents or whatever number, just a brief little history of who you are. Probably one of the most important things on all of that is a picture of yourself. So they just kind of see you. Maybe a link to your website and a link to your LinkedIn profile. Just something, could be very simple. So they just kind of see that you're professional. Samples of past marketing materials. So if you don't have anything, it doesn't matter if you just grab a just listed postcard. Be like, okay, so this is I send out this just listed postcard. Of course, that would be your home. If you have a wrap card for a property, or you can get, there are a ton of marketing resources in RPR. So you could do a listing page in RPR. So that could be part of it. So it doesn't have to be your listing or marketing materials if you haven't listed a property. So make sure you grab, just something, or another agent's and go, well, we do these, that's all we have to say is we do these for every property, things like that. Any testimonials, RPR disclosure forms. So we talk about the property condition disclosure type form that they would need. So I'm going to drop this off. If you want to, give you a little head start, you can fill out this form. It'd be one less paperwork we'd have to do on Monday. So any forms that you can give them so they can kind of peek at them and read them. If they're the type that wants to read them, front to back, give them early so they have the ability to do that. But again, fair housing, any of those, pamphlets that you can drop off, 3 business cards with the idea that, like, hey, I'm already preparing you to hand these out to other folks, your neighbors or whatever, and then a thank you note for the opportunity before you even get there. So again, just some ideas, but whatever we can kind of put together is the only goal is to set ourselves apart, to give them some information and show that we're not just going to throw something together and I'll be there Monday at 2. I'm already preparing for Monday. The listing appointment, it's not a dance, but, every seller is different. There are some that are ready to butt heads. There are some that are ready to, just go with the flow. There are some ready to sign. There are some ready to fight you on commission. You just got to be prepared. So essentially it's a dance. But again, we are just prepared for, we have everything in line. We have all our stuff. We've kind of practiced our presentation, and we're just showing up and being like, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens today. Where are we going with this? But, I just want to leave with a signed agreement. So that's our goal. But, asking the questions, doing your homework, preparing the CMA, present your marketing plan. That is part of the listing presentation. This is how I work. This is what I do with every listing I get. 2-step appointment. If you have to go back, you're going to be, or you're doing the 1 step prior and then coming in with the second, for the actual appointment where you're live in person. You're going to tour the property. You're going to interview them. then you might go back and prepare a more detailed CMA, and then quickly get it back to them. You just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if they are ready to sign at that point. You don't, they will either tell, they won't tell you. You might not know. You might figure it out. But the goal is just pushes. We want to push as hard as we can. We want to get them all the data and sort of ask for a close. Like, can we sign a listing agreement today? Or kind of what's going on. But the goal is even if it's a 2-step appointment where you go home and you go back to the office, do a little work, and then bring them back something with more data. I mean, that's fine, but we got to be prepared to still ask for that close, ask for their business at that point. So which way is better? Obviously a 1-step if you can leave with the listing agreement. But if it takes there's no right answer. But if it takes 2 steps, and that's what they want, well, guess what? It's going to be 2 steps, because if you ask for that business after that 1 step and they're not comfortable with it, guess what? They won't want to hear from you a second time. So if it needs to be a 2-step process, then it needs to be. But we still have to be on time. We have to be on purpose. We can't go 2 days without getting them some info. It's got to be like, I'll have that to you in an hour. I'll have that to you, right away. And then kind of just keep that trust going. In the very bottom of that, practice, practice, practice. I mean, I cannot stress, you can fumble, you can, not have an answer for a question, but, getting an answer to them or figuring something out same day or as quick as possible, that doesn't matter to them. They will be happy with that. But the more you practice, the more, you do a role play and hear some objections and kind of have something in place to respond with, the better. And trust me, you will go on an appointment. If Mandy's been doing this for 2 years, I will go on an appointment today and I will hear something and I will go, boy, I've never been asked that before. It's not like it's ever done, but the more we practice it, I promise you, as weird as that sounds, practice it in the mirror, do whatever you have to get better at it. And whether it's that first time or the 5th time, it'll keep getting better and better. And it'll just continue to show that you're, more real and there for them. Oh, Mandy, so I always practice in my car on the way there. No, I mean, just whatever that entails. Everyone's different, but just the idea of practicing it. Okay, so I want to, it can be just the simple things. Okay, so I want to go in. I want to meet with them. I want to ask if they go, where do you want to start? Oh, let's start at the kitchen table and just chat for a minute. And some just start walking and do I want to say, oh, do you mind if we sit for a minute and then we'll tour, or do you just kind of follow them? And then it's the path of questions and the interview questions. So I want to make sure I ask them, and they can be written down. You don't have to have this all in your head, but it's like, okay, so I want to ask them these 3 questions and I want to ask them those questions before I see the house, just whatever it entails. But the idea of practicing it and maybe going, okay, so if they ask me, about price right away, how am I going to handle that? How am I going to get them to, to say, okay, I'll talk about price in a second, but, I want to kind of get a few things down before, that's awesome. So love it. Nothing wrong with practicing in your car, with someone else in front of your mirror. So I'm going to actually, there's that way to get to that listing presentation. I'm actually going to just show you that in a minute. So I'm going to skip this slide. So kind of the ideal process, ring the doorbell, obviously greet them, have a smile on your face, be bubbly. You can be nervous, but you still want to be bubbly. And the idea is hopefully, you're able to sit down with them and just sort of get them to realize, like, I don't know if it actually kind of puts you in control if you say, hey, can we go to the kitchen table? Not that you want to, like controlling them, but it kind of gets you to go, okay, so if we're at the kitchen table, I kind of know what I want to do from this. And then, just the small talk is the idea of it kind of gets you settled down. Because, I can be nervous right now if I go to a certain listing, like, man, I really want this listing, or, generally I have it down, but I could get nervous going. It could be a certain person, it can be a certain listing. So just engaging in that small talk settles you down a little bit and kind of, gets everyone, just like, okay, we're just normal folks here. Let's just kind of go through this. I'm here to get a listing. I know you're over there, you want the best deal and find the best agent. But if we just kind of start settling down, we just kind of all get at the same level, and let's just see where it goes. So I kind of like that idea. So there's a sample video. I'm actually just going to email that to you because it's 14 minutes long. So I don't want you to, it's pretty cool to watch because it's not a bad, way to kind of see them role playing. They're kind of like if they were practicing, but I'm going to email that to you so you guys have it. So listing presentation, just part of, if the seller says yes, then your marketing, to your marketing plan, then we get into price. Then we, talk about actually, signing the agreement. There is on the same form as that listing presentation where the pricing analysis grid is, there's a commitment to service that says, I will market it this way. I will talk to you weekly and give you updates. And if I don't do that, you can fire me. And that's a great way to present that, to say, look, I'm saying I'm doing this, but if I don't do it, you can fire me. And it settles, talk about settling a seller down to be like, oh yeah, I wondered if, you said you were going to send just listeds and then market it this way. And then if you don't, I'm not going to sell my house, and, but, kind of that customer service. So I'll show you on that listing presentation page as well, where you can find that. Awesome to print this out, take a peek at it, fill one out for yourself or for a client and kind of get practice with it. But it's basically saying, I will do this, or you can fire me. And pretty cool for the sellers to have that option. Obviously you're going to do your thing and they won't fire you. But if you're not, it gives them an out without, being stuck with an agent for a year. Listing forms. So obviously there are packets in Dotloop, which we're switching over to SkySlope. So there are packets in there. You can kind of put a packet together if you're going to do it in person, but making sure you have all those forms. And that's just something your office manager, office coordinator will have ready for you. Those forms can be ready, and just so you know exactly every form that you may need to actually get that property listed today. So definitely just check with your, within your office for that. So resources, so, marketing materials, again, everything's in leverage. So lots of forms you can have, lots of the listing presentation will have so listing presentation is essentially your marketing plan, where the listing goes, the tools you can use to help the property get noticed and sold for high dollar. All of that's really in that listing presentation. So, but promotion, listing distribution, all of that's in 2 clicks on leverage. But again, I'll show you in just a second for that. And then there's so much on this page. I do want to just back that up for a second. So you take a look at that page a lot. So all the materials are in that, that listing distribution and listing acquisition section. But there's so much learning ability in the university to how to have that listing presentation, how to present it, what to do with the listing once you get it. All of that is all right there in that university. So, watching a class here, watching a class there, never a bad thing. Also, kind of along the same lines, whether you watch that 14-minute listing presentation or you just go out with an experienced agent, really essentially the same. The listing presentation with an agent, can be more fun because you're actually out there doing it live. So, yeah, I'd love you to just be involved with that university. Just know that that's always there. They're always updating that. So, it's constantly being updated with valuable content on what's happening in today's market. So definitely check that out. Make sure you've done your listing presentation. It's actually one of the first things we talked about. Again, I'm going to pop in there in a second and do that. But I'm going to stress this again, make an appointment with another agent. If you have not done that, let's find you an agent to go out with, and then go out with 2, because for Dwayne, if you go out with Rebecca, she is going to, be totally different than if you went out with Terry Hall, Gordley, or anybody else. So, hit up a couple agents and get a couple different feels of how they handle theirs and how they present that. And, whether they have something or somebody like, Rebecca may just have it all in her head with a few handouts. Everyone's different. So definitely worth it to check out a few folks, and well worth an hour of time, or essentially whatever that would take. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining. I am going to just pop into, let me close this up. Oh, no, that is not what I wanted. I just want to get into, seems like I can never find my page here. And I just close these out. Here we go. Sorry about that. I knew I was in leverage earlier. So again, log into leverage. Here is your, oh, I'm going to make me do it again. Here's your home screen on leverage. And what, if you have it saved, there are lots of listings things, but if I go up to marketing, you will see liquid listing acquisition, listing promotion. So, everything on that page, all involved. But if I go to this listing acquisition and just scroll down here, you'll see listing presentation, English and Spanish, if you had a choice. But you can just simply download this listing presentation right here. And it is probably 40 pages. Everything you see here is complete. Every page is complete. The only thing you'll want to do is there are pages to add your picture, to add your name. There's a page to add your little bit of your bio and kind of personalize it and make it your own. But that's as simple as it can be, is to download it, go into PowerPoint and start playing around with it and make it your own. But look at each page. Look at each page when it talks about this is where a listing goes. It's on Realtor and all these websites. We have tools like Text ERA that help us get buyers for your property. There's tons and tons of data in this listing presentation. So make sure you check that out if you have not yet. That needs to be completed. And then, like Brittany said, or Mandy said, then practice. And then practice the sort of your presentation as many times as you can. So there's a listing presentation, and then all the kind of the tools we talked about. So the pricing analysis grid, there's a saleability chart, and then the broker commitment to service. Every single one of them are right here. And I can download those individually. So certainly download them, print them out, look at them, get to know that they exist, and practice filling one out. Again, fill out this pricing analysis grid on your home, on a friend or family's home, a neighbor's home, whatever. Fill that out and just kind of go through it, because you can't break it, but it's awesome to practice that. Okay, so hopefully that was good. I just wanted to make sure you guys saw that again. Let me double check. So that is kind of where I wanted to get through. Please let me know if you have any questions. I kind of said as Bryce was leaving, you're not done. I will stress that again. You have access to all of us, to your office coordinator, to your office manager, all the way through this, other agents that we can hook you up with. So please take advantage of that. Don't hesitate to, sort of come back to me and see if you need anything. Happy, but I'm going to send a recap with kind of all the recordings, some additional recordings from whether it was the agent tool of the month or the marketing calls. But please just continue to take advantage of as many sessions as you can. I know it can get overwhelming, but an hour here, an hour there, 2 or 3 hours a week will be super valuable for you to hop on calls or to meet with someone in the office. That'll just continue to help you in just, with your career, and it'll be valuable, 5-10 years down the road. So thank you.